Aditya.
Hi, Hala. Good evening.
Good evening. I think this is the last session for today, huh?
Sorry?
Last session for today?
You want to end with a bang. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction about Hala and the topic she's talking about. In the meantime, Hala, you can get your screen share started.
Yeah.
So we have with us Hala Elghawi. She's going to be talking about phishing and ransomware attacks. Now, a little bit about Hala. Hala has more than 13 years of experience in the banking industry with a passion for cyber and technology risk management and governance. She is a postgraduate in quality management and has a graduate degree in management information systems. In addition, Hala holds several professional certificates such as PMP, ISO 27001 lead implementer, COBIT Foundation, COBIT Implementation, and a diploma in risk management. Currently, Hala works as a cluster information security senior manager for the Middle East, North Africa, Afghanistan, and Pakistan regions at Standard Chartered Bank. She recently published an article about COVID-19 and cyber risk on Global CIO Forum featured in May 2020. And this is the second time we are having Hala with us. She also was a speaker on our last conference. So with that, I'm handing the stage over to you, Hala. All the best.
Thank you, Aditya, for the introduction, and glad to be here on this session. Okay. Today, actually, I'm going to speak about cyber attack, and one of the most actually important cyber attacks nowadays is phishing and a ransomware attack. Those both actually attacks which are arise more and more these days, and now considered the most prevalent cybersecurity threats for the organizations, affecting the organizations from all sizes, big organizations to the small organizations, and also from all industries and services of organizations. And currently also, unfortunately, the attackers, they also attacking the health care companies or organizations like hospitals. Ransomware attack actually it results in a different type of risk, not only financial risk and not only data loss and the damage to the reputation of the organization. Sometimes some businesses, small businesses, might close their business because of cyber attack. Also, nowadays, we lose some life actually because of the ransomware attack. You might hear about the attack which affected a hospital in Germany last week. Where a woman actually went to the hospital and she needed urgent admission and died after she has been taken to another hospital in a different city. So as we can see, it's not only a financial loss. Also, one of organizations in Europe, it paid actually 45 million pounds in order to fix their systems and to run their businesses again. So it's very, very dramatic, let's say, attack nowadays. In this session, I'm going to explain how the ransomware attack takes place and what precautionary measures that can be taken to avoid such attacks in the organizations, and how to prevent those attacks and to secure ourselves if we are working in organizations, or to secure ourselves as a person, because also ransomware, it's affecting people where the hackers or the attackers, they are targeting everyone in, as I mentioned, all organizations from different sizes, from different productions and services, also the personnel sometimes being attacked. I will start the presentation with the phishing, actually, because it's a door, let's say, for a ransomware, one doors of the ransomware. In 2019, there were 9.9 billion malware or malicious software attacks globally, where 50% of all phishing emails contain malware. some of phishing email might contain them, and some might not contain the malware. And sometimes actually it includes the ransomware. Once let's say the receiver for the phishing email clicked on a suspicious link or tried to open the attachment which received, and in this way actually they are installing the malware, and it enable the cyber criminals to spy on the online activities, intercept your email, steal payment details, take over your email account or email compromisation, hijacking your system for ransom, and misuse your personal information. Okay. And nowadays we are having different regulations which mandating, let's say, to notify the authority, a special authority, in a data breach incident. Some organization actually they do not report or they do not notify the authorities. They have been attacked from a phishing, or they were under a ransomware attack, which is bad in my view. I believe all organizations must be transparent with the authorities and to share the information with the authority, sometimes to share it with a different organization in the same industry or a different industry, so the knowledge can be shared and some controls can be implemented in order to avoid such phishing or ransomware attack. How to protect yourself and organization from malware and from phishing, from both. First of all, we need to patch our systems, to upgrade our operating systems and to install the updates for our software, operating systems, applications. Also, it needs to be updated. We are talking about the updates in both mobile devices, also on laptops or PCs, because also mobiles can be infected by viruses or malware software. Okay, so the patches, it's very important. This is the first thing. The second thing we can provide here, do not download untrusted applications or software and just use the authorized and secured place to download applications or softwares. If you are using a mobile, just download from App Store or Play Store. If you are installing a program or application on your laptop or PC, you need to install it also from a trusted organization or a trusted website, not from a generic site from the internet. Also, always connect to a trusted and secured network, and do not connect or use the public Wi-Fi networks. Unfortunately, actually, some people, when they found a free Wi-Fi, it's opened and it's not secured, they say it's again, and let's connect to that Wi-Fi. Unfortunately, some hackers might go to a specific area, and sometimes they might use the restaurant name or the cafe name, and they make it the hotspot name for their device on that restaurant or cafe name. Once you connect to that network, the hacker, they can take access to your data, they can extract it and share it with themselves. Sometimes they can see what you can see. Of course, nothing will be kept confidential or secret, so no privacy when you connect to a public Wi-Fi, especially if it's compromised by a hacker. So always connect to a trusted Wi-Fi. Also, you need to put a password when you want to connect to that Wi-Fi network, and you need to ask about the exact name for it before you connect. When dealing with emails, also you need to stay vigilant. As we mentioned, don't click on a suspicious link or attachment. Sometimes actually the hackers, they might spoof your email. So you might receive an email from yourself which might contain a document or attachment. And some people, they are going to check it because they will just be asking, how come I sent myself an email, or I don't remember I sent myself an email. Once you click on that attachment, actually you are going to install a virus or a ransomware. The last step actually here, always verify and do not click on a suspicious link and download unexpected attachment. Now, moving to the ransomware, which we said, as we mentioned earlier, it might start with a phishing actually, and it might, let's say, use a vulnerability on a server or on a laptop or a computer. Let's just give an example. In this slide, you can see this screenshot, which is showing that mainly this is the main message you get once you got infected in a ransomware. The attacker, they will let you know that your data has been encrypted, and you will not be able to decrypt the data unless you pay a ransom. Usually they ask to pay by bitcoins, because bitcoins, it's not easy to be tracked. And in this way, actually, they gain the money. We will talk later in the upcoming slides about the strategies that we can take once we got infected in a ransomware. So a ransomware simply is a category of malicious software that prevents users from accessing their computing devices, resources, and/or personal data, typically by encrypting it. The data on the victim computing device is taken hostage until the victim pays a ransom to remove the restriction. Of course, we do not encourage people to pay the ransom, and we can discuss the other techniques that can be taken. How might cyber criminals deliver ransomware attack? As we discussed earlier, they might send a phishing email with a malicious attachment or a link, getting into your server through vulnerabilities and installing malware, or using infected websites that automatically download malicious software to your computer or mobile devices. Some websites, actually untrusted websites, once you just visit that site, it's gonna install a malware on your device, or a ransomware on your device. So mainly those the three ways the attackers can install the ransomware on your device. What should you do if your computer or device infected with a ransomware? But this is very, very important, actually. Once you see this message, it's coming up. Actually, when the virus installed in your machine, you will not see what is happening in the background, and you will not see that your files it's getting encrypted. They will start with one file until they encrypt the whole files on your machine. But you will not see anything, and you will not notice anything or something different unless they finalize the encryption and to get you a message that your device got infected and you need to pay that ransomware. So in this case, once you saw this message, which I'm talking about, just immediately disconnect from the internet and don't turn off your computer. Also, if we are talking about organizations, if the help desk or the cyber defense center, they received a call or a message that one employee received, let's say, a ransomware, they need to instruct them not to turn off their computer. They just want to unplug from the internet or to disconnect from the internet. Okay, and also if we are working in organization, we need to report this incident immediately to the help desk team, so they can take the required controls, like to monitor the network, to isolate the infected device, also sometimes to isolate, let's say, a specific backups or whatsoever. So different actions can be taken in order to minimize the risk of the ransomware and spreading the ransomware in a different PCs in the same organization or on the same network, or to be spread on the network. Now, we are going to about the dilemma, actually, about paying the ransomware. Some companies, once they got infected in the ransomware, what they do, they start asking themselves, shall we pay for the ransomware or shall we do not pay for the ransomware? Actually, some of ransomware, it can be decrypted. You need to check on some websites. Some websites, actually, they are providing you with details or the decryption key. If they let's say identified the ransomware. Usually you will get the name of the ransomware installed in your machine, and you can check if a decryption key is available online or not. You can use it, but in most cases, actually, the decryption key, it will not be available. Also, some attackers, they let's say buy this ransomware from the dark web, and let's say it costs nothing sometimes. Actually, you can just use it with a small amount of money, and they can pay this money actually to buy this virus, and then they will gain money from the ransom, which they will install it in a different machine. For those actually who goes with paying the ransom in order to decrypt their data or something, we are saying that there is no guarantee you will even recover your files. And your fund, in this way, actually, you are going to fund a criminal organization, and you are only encouraging this behavior, because in this case, actually, the hacker he will see that he is gaining money from nothing, actually, and he will continue using this in case they are receiving a Bitcoin or receiving money from the affected personnel or organization. The most important thing, actually, in order to not to think to pay for a ransom, all organizations or personnel, they need to take a backup from their data, especially let's say confidential data or the important data. And the most important thing that the backup, it should not be kept in the same local machine or in the same network. It must be kept in isolated network or in isolated machine. There is also some of websites where you can keep your backup data on them. And once you got infected by a ransomware, you can just actually format your machine, and you can install the backup from that website, which using actually cloud computing. And some of websites, actually, it costs only $5 per month to save your backup there. For organization also, they need to keep their backup secured and to check their backup from time to time, because in case the machine got infected, and sometimes the backup might be infected once it's taking the backup in SMD, because we are having different schedules for the backup. If we are taking a daily backup and it got encrypted, and we saved it as encrypted, in this way we will not be able to restore our data safely. So the backup is the main, let's say, the main thing that we can do to prevent losing our data. For those also who think to pay the ransom, actually this depends on the situation and if they have the backup or they do not have the backup. Some small organization, they may not maintain a backup and they may not take any backup or save it. And to pay actually the ransomware, it will be affordable for them so they can continue their business. But in this way, also they need to sometimes to negotiate the ransom amount. And again, we are not supporting this behavior, or we are not supporting paying the ransom. But what we see actually, some of organizations, they are paying the ransom because they want to restore their services immediately. And some of threat actors actually, they are giving a specific time frame. If you do not pay the money within, let's say, 24 hours or 6 hours whatsoever, so they will remove the decryption key. So in case they remove that, no one will be able to encrypt the data because, again, we said that not all ransom can be decrypted or you can find the key. Also, another solution we can provide or another try can be done, it's to scan your device, to use a strong scan software. But we need to make sure the scanner, once it's run, it's not deleting everything or all the files, because what happens sometimes when the scan is running, it's going to remove the decryption key, which might be stored in your machine, because this depends on the type of the ransom. Those actually the main tips which we can provide in the ransomware attack. Also, we encourage organization to start thinking in those attacks and to see how they can survive actually with such incidents. Actually, I saw a case for one organization which got infected in a ransomware attack, where they required to go and work manually. It was a production or organization actually, and they start working manually, but also working manually, it will take time and also it will be costly for the organization, and it will not be easy. But that company, they went with a decision that they don't want to pay the ransom and they want to take their time and to rebuild their capabilities and to run their business again. But again, taking the backup, it's the most important thing, and install the antivirus and make it updated. Those mainly are my slides for today and the topic. I'm not sure if we are having questions.
Yes, Hala, we have a few questions. I will kick it off. So basically, what you're saying is that the only way to prevent ransomware is to back up your data.
It's not preventing,
or prevent having,
yes.
Prevent paying the ransom.
Yes.
The only solution to ransomware is to back up your data.
Yes, to back up your data.
So,
it's very important.
Because paying the ransom does not always guarantee that you get your decryption keys. But as I think Sujata was mentioning before, this Garmin, and then there was another Swedish company, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was a hearing aid manufacturer. They ended up paying the ransom of almost $90 million. Then there was another case in the United States where the entire city of Baltimore was hit with ransomware, and the hackers demanded something like $100,000. In all those cases, the solution would have been to actually back up the data and restore it from backup, right? Now, organizations can have millions of dollars worth of cybersecurity protocols and measures put in place. How do you prevent one single employee from compromising the entire security by clicking on a phishing email? And because the employee is already authenticated and within the network, the impact of that phishing email can be so much worse.
Yeah, of course. Actually, the first thing we recommend here to raise the employees' awareness about phishing and the ransomware and how they can spot the phishing email or spear phishing email and how to respond actually, how to report it, and to understand their behavior, why they are clicking on suspicious links or these things, and also to correct their behavior and to measure the employees' behavior. This is on the employees side, and we are also might have different technologies that can scan actually the attachment and link before it's delivered to the employees. We recommend also to have such strong, let's say, technologies to do this scan before the email got delivered to the employee.
Okay, so that is for corporate. What are some tips for everyday regular users when it comes to identifying phishing emails?
Yeah, actually, for the users, as I mentioned, if they are working in an organization, the first thing they need to report, they need to do is to report the phishing email to the right channel, so they can investigate and take the controls that can be taken from their end without, of course, clicking. Also, the employee, they can check the link destination, so they can just hover over the link to see the destination of that link. We encourage, if you suspect the email, do not open the attachment and do not try actually to open the attachment. If you are using personally actually, or also if some small organizations, there is different technologies also can be used also on a cloud, where they can open the attachment on that cloud-based environment to check if it's containing any malicious software or it's a genuine email or not. But we encourage also to look to the domain, to the sender domain, if you can recognize that sender domain or not. It's very important to check these things, because let's say if I'm receiving an email from myself, as the example which I made, where sometimes your email might be spoofed and you might receive an email from your personal email or something, and of course you are not going to send your email an email without knowing what you are sending for yourself. No. So all you need to check, if I'm receiving an email from myself and I'm sure I did not receive an email and it contains, let's say, a document or a link, of course I should not click on that link or try to open that attachment. Also, if I'm receiving an email, and sometimes the phishing emails, it might contain urgency language or threatening language. This is actually, we see it here in Middle East countries, where some employees, they might receive a message that we noticed that you are visiting a bad sites, let's say. And in case you do not pay us this money, we are going to publish these your visiting sites actually on the public, or we can send it to your contact details. And we have a copy from your contacts, and we can send images. We have pictures for you, and all these things. So they might use these techniques. What we do actually, what we advise here: do not go to these things, just slow down, calm down, think what needs to be done. Have you visited these sites or not? If you are not visiting such sites, so why to pay or why to respond actually to that email from the beginning? You just want to ignore it or to report it sometimes to the police department. Some countries, the police, they can help people actually to investigate, especially if they are having cybercrime units in the police department. So they can take the controls from their sides to protect others from such attacks.
Okay, thank you again. That answer also was very in-depth and informative. So with that, I think we are done with the questions, Hala. Thank you so much for joining us for our second conference. We look forward to having you for many more as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.